Title: M thinks her kids should play with my $1,500 PC. More of an entitled kid story. Edit: my mom did stand up for me at the end. Many comments saying she should, and she had to buy me a $50 keyboard. Those crotch goblins ain't coming back for a while since my parents are mad with them. Info: I recently bought this PC that cost about $1,500, without counting the monitors and other stuff, and I was very delicate with it. My grandma's birthday was approaching, and since my family and my grandma live in the same city, all the other family members traveled to visit. I love my causing except one group. These kids are spoiled. Their mother doesn't care about them, so they develop into bratty and annoying kids. One is about 11, the oldest, and she is the least annoying, but she doesn't care about what other people think and always does what she wants. The middle kid is about 8 and he is a crybaby. If we don't let him see our phones or let him play with them, he goes to cry to his or my parents. And the third one, about 4 to 5, is always making fun and picking on the middle kid. He also breaks many toys and is a snitch himself. On to the story. I was chilling in my house playing some CS when I hear the door. I hoped it was the good cousins, but it was the trio. In the beginning, we were in the living room talking and telling stories, but after a while, they went deeper in the house, my room. First, they annoyed my little bro with his Nintendo Switch. After a while though, they got bored and went into my room. The first to walk in was the small kid. He immediately sat on my best that is next to my desk and started watching me play. He asked to play, but I said no as it was too hard for him and he would die. Then the middle kid walked in. The old one stayed talking with the parents, and they started arguing over who was going to play first. After a couple of matches they started saying it was their turn, and when I refused they started picking on each other for fun. At one point the young one punched the big one, who fell into my PC's tower and knocked it over. It was very heavy. They got scared and went to tell their parents. The PC was fine, not even a scratch, but then they made up a story about me picking on them and not letting them play and had to let them play. The mother screamed at me in front of my parents and told me if I made her babies sad again she would make sure my computer disappears. At one point the small kid was playing and got so mad after dying that he punched my keyboard, knocking a piece off. This was a $30 keyboard, so got mad, and the mother told me off for being a snitch when I told my parents. Title: No ma'am, cheating the system is not as easy as you think. My first post here, but def won't be my last. I work in college admissions for a private university, so I deal with entitled parents and teenagers every damn day. This first noteworthy event happened back in September, just after our newest semester started. With COVID, all offices that don't deal directly with student needs, like us, are working virtually via phone and video calls. But because we also deal with visitors and prospectives, we use a rotating skeleton crew where we each cover our office 1 to 2 times a week. It was my turn to be at our front desk, and I was just sitting listening to music while I get through hundreds of emails when a woman and her teen daughter come in. The woman asks about herself, thinking about starting school again, wants to take classes, pretty standard thing to deal with. I ask the normal questions: any previous college, what would you like to do, when would you want to start, etc. Lady: so I want to get started as soon as possible, so can you get me started? Me: you can definitely apply for the spring semester, which means a January start. L: no I can't do that, I need to do it now, so I was thinking on Monday. M: oh well, we are a few weeks into the fall semester, unfortunately the deadline to register for classes was last week. L: why can't I take a class now? M: well, it's been 3 weeks into the semester, so we can't just have someone join a class that way. Have you even applied? L: I don't have to. Can't I just sign some papers and give a check and get in class? I need to do that. M: I am sorry, the semester has closed, we can't do anything else, but have you apply for spring? Here she got very red-faced and actually started pacing around our lobby. You know you're not the only school in the city, you should want to have me. M: we would gladly take you in January, but our policies state no one can enter after the registration deadline. L: who else can I talk to, because you are no help? Her daughter, by the way, is just sitting in a chair looking like she wants to die. M: okay, well, we have our student support dean upstairs who I think can help us with this situation. With that, she grabbed her daughter and headed out of the office and up the stairs. She didn't even wait to hear where exactly to go. Turns out that Dean, and everyone in the office, was gone, so I heard the next morning that the woman actually wandered the halls for a few hours before being met by campus police and asked to leave since it became after hours. We haven't heard about her since. I've speculated that she is in a job or a program that gives benefits to anyone who is enrolled in college, and they came asking her for proof. It is pretty common. Title: M demanded I let her son play with my new iPhone. Backstory: my old phone iPhone 6s Plus got water damage and was almost unusable, so we brought it to the Genius Bar to see if we could get it fixed. They couldn't. I was going to get a new phone with my mom and I was expecting one of their earlier phones, so you could imagine how shocked I was when she let me get the 11. I was so happy with it. Back to the story. It was about that time when I had to get flu shots, so my mom and I went to get them. This is in England, so there are the two seats next to each other facing forward in rows, and behind us there is a M and EK. My mom leaves to go get snacks from the back thing of the train. That's when the EK strikes. He leans over the seat and watches me play Crossy Road for a while. I'm fine with this because he wasn't doing anything harmful or annoying to me. He asks me for a turn, which I politely declined. I didn't have a case or screen protector yet, so I didn't want him to drop it or get fingerprints on the screen. He goes back to M and from what I can hear says, "That kid said I couldn't play with his phone," in that annoyed tone. The M gets out of her seat and comes to talk with me. I explain how it is new and she kind of calms down and goes back to her seat and says to her kid that it's new, but the kid stands on his seat and bends over the back of my seat and tries to snatch my phone. My bad, but I push his arm out of the way because I didn't know what he was going to do with it. Title: Entitled Mother Tries to Steal My Arcade Card and Gets Instant Karma. Hi everybody. So, this happened in 2019 BC, before COVID, and my dad and I still laugh about it to this day. A bit of relevant background info: ever since I was a kid, I loved going to arcades. I probably dragged my parents to every Chuck E. Cheese, Rip, Dave and Buster's, and generic family-owned arcade in the tri-state area. This story happened on a day my dad and I stopped at the nearest Dave & Buster's to grind for tickets and generally good around. The way Dave & Buster's works is you buy a card and load it up with tokens, and you get more tokens the more money you spend, because capitalism. These tokens can be spent on the different games. With most games, you can win tickets for playing well, or beating the game. Tickets are the currency at these places, with which you can get prizes varying from candy to a Nintendo Switch. My dad and I have been saving up tickets for over a year to get a really big prize, and at the time we had saved between 50,000 and 75,000 tickets. And in our many times going to the same arcade, I got really good at one particular game. The game is called Kung Fu Panda Dojo. Basically, the goal is to smack these sensor pads and break virtual objects. If you pass the first stage, you make it to the bonus round where you can get 2,000 tickets if you can grab 30 dumplings. Yes, I'm aware it's a weird game, but blame Jack Black for making the movies popular enough to warrant an arcade game, not me. I'm at a point where I can win the bonus round about 80% of the time. Okay, backstory over, onto the Karen. My dad and I were at our favorite Dave & Buster's location. We had gained a few thousand tickets that day, and my dad gave me the card and told me to win a shit ton of tickets. This is actually what he said as he went to get another round of Coke Zeros for us. I immediately ran over to the Kung Fu Panda game, but someone was already using it, so I just hovered around and waited for my turn to use it. The kid in front of me, EK, was somehow managing to miss every single target. The game over screen appeared and he walked off in a huff. I quickly jumped on and won the jackpot right away. I went again, and won again. Sadly, EK had been watching. EK: Hey, you're really good at that game. Me: Thanks dude. EK: Hey, can you win me the jackpot? EK tries to hand me his card. Me: Sorry dude, but you wanna win the jackpot, you gotta do it yourself. EK: Now whining. Please, I never win the jackpot. Me: That's not my problem. Now can you please just leave me alone? EK walked off in a huff. I got back to what I was doing, but his outburst threw me off my game, pun intended. So I stepped away to the shooter section and swiped into Terminator Salvation. Sadly, this story doesn't end here. I saw someone storming up to me with EK at her side. It was Karen. Picture your typical Karen, but with brown hair instead of blonde and glasses, and you're picturing her. Karen, excuse me, what did you say to my darling boy? Me, huh, do I know you ma'am? Karen, you better get to know me, I'm EK's mother. Me, lady, I don't know what you're talking about, but please just leave me alone. Karen, no, you have to apologize to my son. Me, what the hell are you talking about lady? Karen, you told my son that he would never be good at playing games and tried to steal his card. I looked at EK and he had this shit-eating grin plastered across his face. Me, look, I never said any of that to your kid, I just refused to play a game for him. Now get the hell out of my face. Karen, don't you fucking dare talk to me like that, you will give my son your card and win him the jackpot. Me, are you fucking nuts lady? I have a ton of tickets on here, I wouldn't give it to you even if you had asked nicely. I really shouldn't have said we had a lot of tickets. My dad, seeing the quickly escalating shitstorm, walked up to see what was going on. Dad, hi miss, could you please explain to me why you're yelling at my son? Karen, your son has been harassing me and my son, and threatened to steal my card. Me, I didn't do anything. This bitch has been harassing me constantly and demanded for me to give her our card. I feel like I should point out that my family have basically no filter when it comes to swearing. While my parents didn't directly teach us kids colorful language, they didn't exactly put on a PG filter either. Dad, look Karen, Op and I are here to have a good time, so if you don't mind we'll be on our way. We tried to get around her, but she blocked our path. Karen, you two aren't going anywhere, you need to give me your card, and pay for our lunch for all the trouble you caused. Me and Dad at the same time. Fuck off lady. Then came the famous Karen line, the single sentence that makes people around the world say, "Aw shit, here we go again." Karen, you two are being so rude, where's the manager? The floor manager came walking over, let's call him Jimmy, made up name is made up. My dad and I had gotten to know Jimmy pretty well, and every now and then he would comp us a free game card. Jimmy, what's the problem ma'am? Karen, these two have been harassing me and my son, they tried to steal my card, and told my son that he could never be good at video games. Jimmy, that's funny, because in all the time I've known these two, they've never once been rude to another patron. My dad gave our side of the story, and with each word Jimmy's "oh for fuck's sake" look got more and more apparent. Jimmy, look Karen, given the circumstances, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Karen and EK together. What? Me, in a cowboy voice, "Ya heard the manager. Y'all best get outta here, 'fore I make ye." I should point out that I'm a huge theater nerd. Combine that with my being the smartass of the century, arguments with me get crazy fast. Karen, but they're lying, you have to believe me. I demand that you kick them out for all of the trouble they've caused me. Jimmy, okay, if they're lying, then you won't mind if we go check the cameras. If I had gotten a picture of Karen's face in this moment, I would have it on a freaking t-shirt. She looked like she had seen Michael Myers standing behind him with a knife. Karen, oh, okay. Jimmy took us into the back, and he reviewed the security feed. Obviously, he saw Karen bugging me, and he just sighed. Jimmy, Karen, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Karen, no, I won't leave until you make them give me their card. Jimmy called security, and they helped escort Karen and EK out of the building. He then spent a comical amount of time apologizing for her behavior. He told us that she had been causing issues with other guests and staff before, and she had been warned that she was on her last chance.